Our next one up, we're hoping it's going to be Nestor Garza against Carlos Barreto. That's an interesting fight because
nice
I was having a look at Nestor Garza. He's turned pro at 17 years old. Yeah, it looks like we're on pictures now. I think he's coming into the ring. I'm not too sure who this is, but this possibly is Carlos Barreto coming into the ring. Let's go over to the pictures. There's no comment yet, so we'll carry on talking here, Terry. That looks like Carlos Barreto possibly is because the challenger comes into the ring first. Yes. He's a youngster. He's only had 13 fights, unbeaten. But I've just been reading the scribes. They really tout him highly. They reckon he's in with a chance against Garza.
Well, Ron, then he'd have to be a very good fighter because, you know, those Garza, look at his record, 33-1, 27 KOs. I mean, Ron, he's a fearful fighter, this, you know. He's really a tremendous competitor. And if this kid has only had 12 fights, I don't know, you'd have to be a very, very good fighter to go with Garza, Ron.
That's right. You know, look, you know, he's Barreto. He's ranked #1 by WBA for what that's worth. You know, with rankings today, you don't know. But I mean, when you look at the records, the man 13 against 34, Barreto from Venezuela, not as hard a school, I would say, as the Mexican school.
You're right, Ronnie. And there's the champion, Ronnie. You can just see.
Yeah, you just see that. Look at that, the Mexican, you know, coming out the hard Mexican school.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron, this will be a major achievement if Barreto can beat Garza. I don't think
a little bit of an upset, I would say, you know, against the odds. He's only been boxing as a pro for 2 years, as Barreto. You know, in Mexico they started very early because Garza has been a pro since he's only 22 years old. Look at that face. Would you say he's a 22-year-old looking at him?
He looks older. Ron, when you look at him physically, he reminds me a bit of Julio Cesar Chavez.
You're right, yes, that's the sort of chubby sort of face, the dark, deep-set eyes, you know. But being a pro for 5 years, hard school, grown up in Mexico, you know.
Guy they took out of a cage hasn't eaten meat for a week.
Come in, that's a nice gown he's got on.
No, that's lovely.
That's a poncho?
Poncho,
it is, yeah, a poncho must be from Mexico. Nestor on the back.
Now they tell me this is a wonderful fighter. On all the reports I got from America, they tell me this kid is very exciting. And not a lot of Americans have really seen the best of him.
Well, 27 KOs, so yeah, look at that. He's up there, 35 wins, 1 loss, 27 KOs. Yeah.
It's fantastic, all these Hispanic fighters that are coming through, Ron.
Well,
the quality of them, you know.
Quality. I mean, these chaps, as I say, they got to fight to live because it's only they can make money, you know. And it's strange today. A #1 contender only had 13 fights. In the old days, they'd have 90 fights before they became a contender for a championship.
Sure.
But they're into it early these days.
Yes.
He looks nervous, doesn't he? There. Let's have a look at the tail of the tape, Terry. Be interesting just to compare the two. 22 years old, both there. 5'10", Barreto, very tall for a junior featherweight or super bantamweight. That's incredible. And look at that reach, 7 inches difference.
Yeah. A longer reach than Marciano had. Marciano had 68 inches.
Incredible, isn't it, Teddy? I mean, now Garza's going to have to fight in close because that's his only hope. Sanchez will fight from the outside. I don't think I've seen such a disparity in reach and height between...
For a long time, Ron.
Long time, yeah.
You'll have to take it into the trenches, this guy. But, well, I'm looking forward to seeing Garza because I've heard so much about him. I was on the phone to California last week and one of my good old friends over there, Mike Dean, said to me, this Garza is something very, very special.
Well, I think we're ready to go over to Michael Buffer. Is he ready yet? No, they're very slow, these chaps. You know, they seem to drag it out. There you are. I think there we are. Over to Michael Buffer now.
Legendary Las Vegas Hilton, Top Rank Incorporated, along with La Cerveza Más Fina Corona Extra, present World Championship Boxing, sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, along with the World Boxing Association. WBA supervisor at ringside is Renzo Pagnariol. The 3 judges assigned to this fight, scoring it on a 10-point must system, will be Dwayne Ford, Cesar Ramos, and Rafael Ramos. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Mitch Halpern. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Las Vegas Hilton, 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white, trimmed with blue, and weighing in at 121 pounds. He brings a perfect record to the ring of 12 victories without a loss, 1 draw, 9 knockouts to his credit among his 12 victories. Ladies and gentlemen, from Petare, Venezuela, here is the undefeated WBA #1 ranked challenger in the world, Carlos Barreto. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trimmed with tiger trim, weighing in also at 121 pounds. His record, a sensational 35-1, 27 KOs to his credit. He comes to us from Reynosa, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the reigning WBA Super Bantamweight Champion of the world, El Tigre, Nestor Garza.
Mexico's Nestor Garza, the mysterious WBA Super Bantamweight champion, one of the few world title holders who many outside his home country know nothing about. And we know little more about his challenger tonight, except that at 5'10", Venezuelan Carlos Barreto may be the tallest Super Bantamweight in history. Garza in the Tigre shorts, meant to be a big puncher. Look for an explosive start. Barreto in the white and blue. Meant to be well schooled. Garza praying in the corner. Referee Mitch Halpin calls them together. Round 1 of the WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. 12 rounds between Nestor Garza from Reynosa in Mexico against Carlos Barreto from Petare in Venezuela. Orthodox stance, both fighters. Garza gets in early. First impressions, Jim?
Well, first impression is nobody looking to take any prisoners here. Both set off at a tremendous pace. Barreto is very thin and fragile looking, but the first couple of jabs he stuck out to Garza's face were good solid jobs.
He's got a left mark under his left eye, Carlos Barreto. I noticed that at the press conference earlier in the week. He's picked up an injury in training, but look at that, maybe becoming a problem for him as Garza gets in close, heavy-handed. "28 knockouts, Garza, 35 fights. Barreto unbeaten though. He's won 12 and drawn 1, but this is a big step up. And we just don't know how good he is.
Garza is getting past his jab. Yep, there he goes again.
Good left hands from Nestor Garza. Big hooks. His prediction that he was going to knock out Barreto within 3 rounds. Barreto said he will outwork him and that he will make use of Garza's low guard. And says he's easy to hit. But the Mexican has had the better start here.
Barreto, he certainly looks gritty enough, as I said earlier, the fragile look. But there's a little bit of grit in the work he's putting out. Garza probably just got through with more punches in the first, so just that little bit busier.
Lands with another left-right. Barreto's trading with him, and I don't know if that's sensible. Bit of a mysterious factor about Nestor Garza, called El Tigre. Most of his fights have been in Mexico, but now he's WBA champion. They want to launch him on to the real world circuit. There's Carlos Barreto from Venezuela. 22 years of age. A fast start then to this WBA Super Bantamweight title between Nestor Garza on the left of your screens in the Tiger shorts and Carlos Barreto in the blue. Barreto the much taller at 5'10". Garza the champion, both 22 years of age. Garza's had many more fights. Had a very exciting war with the unbeaten Enrique Sanchez in December to win the title. He was down a couple of times near the beginning, but then had Sanchez down and wore Sanchez down in a tremendous battle. But here comes Barreto. He's not afraid to get close to Garza. Garza fighting off the ropes, and this is turning into a war.
Well, I don't think either man looking for any points win here, Adam. Both standing their ground here. I mean, I've been looking, this is the first time I've had a look at Garza and comparing with Morales and Barreto. He doesn't have that real, assassin look that they've got. He's a little bit looser. Maybe not quite in their league as yet, but this is a good little battle.
Barreto thought to be the lighter puncher. Last year, all three of his fights went the distance. But his first 5 were all over inside 3 rounds. Garza looks to have the heavier shots, though, in the early exchanges. Good combination from Barreto. Garza looked open there. As I said, he was floored by Enrique Sanchez near the beginning. Good right hand from Barreto. And he's having his success.
Yeah, but I think his punches have been cleaner so far in this round. He started the round well. He's been very precise. He's just waiting his chance. He's not wasting punches. I think the reach has given Garza some problems here. He's having to lunge past the jab to get his punches home. He's going to have to find a smoother way of getting into punch range.
Yes, Barreto just taking a step back and poking that jab out. Garza still pressing forward, but he's being caught at times, and that was Barreto's round. Still to come, of course, the WBC version of the Super Bantamweight title between Eric Morales and Juan Carlos Ramirez. A really hot division at Super Bantam. Marco Antonio Barrera, who's ringside tonight, holds the WBO version. The IBF is vacant. And here we have a great battle for the WBA.
Many more fights such as
Nestor Garza, the Mexican, Carlos Barreto, the Venezuelan.
Somebody told me there were plans also for Holyfield, Lennox Lewis. Is that right?
Pretty even stuff so far, isn't it?
Well, I couldn't have it much more even. I reckon it's around a piece at the moment. But Garza's the one with the problems. He's trying to get past Barreto's long jab, and he certainly didn't manage it very often in the second round.
This is the third round of an entertaining WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. between two fighters that we don't know too much about, and we're learning as we go. Nestor Garza, who's won 34 of his 35, only defeat a bad stoppage by Angel Rosario, who was beaten by Barreto. So that might be a form guide, but Garza has the added professional experience. Barreto has only had 13 fights, but a good amateur and showing some good skills. Carlos Barreto here.
See, Garza's lunging with his punches. The left jab of Barreto is beginning to annoy him now. It's not landing in this round so far, but he just can't get past it to get his punches home. He's having to lunge his way in. So when you're doing that, you can't put punches together. Good left hook from Barreto.
Yes, the cleaner work from Barreto. Garza having a problem with the tall, awkward stance. How Barreto makes super bantam, I don't know, Jim.
Now you can see that there's not a pick on him. There's hardly an ounce of flesh there. He's 5'10", super bantamweight. It's amazing. See, he stands with a wide stance and just a little half step back as Garza comes forward, so Garza can't get into range. He's taking chances now. He's trying to force the pace, but he can't find a smooth way to get into punching range, so he's only letting single swings go.
He looks crude, Garza, tonight, charging in and throwing shots, some that are landing, some are being taken on Barreto's gloves. Good right hand. But Barreto takes it well and just goes back to boxing behind that jab. On the move. Went to Atlanta, the Olympics, Carlos Barreto. So has good pedigree. And when he gets his shots off, looks very classy.
See, Garza is having to take punches. I don't think this is his normal style. He's having to do some silly things to try and get some punches home, and now he's making the mistakes, and Barreto's punishing him for them.
Turns southpaw, Nestor Garza, to try and get closer to Barreto. But he doesn't get his knockout within 3 rounds. And I think that's Barreto's. One should be interesting to see how good he is. Back at the WBA version, Nestor Garza, the champion, is having some problems. Fourth round. Garza in the Tiger Prince and Barreto in blue. Barreto, the much taller man, the more technical boxer, and Garza, the come-forward, aggressive type, sort of boxing in a sort of hunch style.
You can see Garza becoming a little bit frustrated here. See, wild swings just well out of range here. When you're dealing with awkward customers like Barreto, you have to find a way to make them make mistakes, commit themselves, draw the leads. Garza is leading off and he's having no success, so you have to draw the awkward fellows' leads.
Warm that the heads are coming close together, but Garza's just being caught on the way in by Barreto, who's boxing well here at the Las Vegas Hilton. Never been beaten, Barreto.
So I think Garza's going to have to throw 3, 4 and 5 punches and be prepared to miss a couple to land a couple. He's trying to be precise, land with the lead punch as he moves in. It's not happening. So he's going to have to let punches go in bursts.
Garza just having some difficulty getting to grips with the style of this well-schooled Venezuelan. He looks more experienced, Barreto, than his 13 fights. Both are 22 years of age. They start them young in South America.
Garza still struggling, trying to find a way past that awkward, long, poking jab of Barreto. Just can't find a way past it.
A quieter round, this.
Again, Garza made no impact whatsoever on the challenger.
Just can't seem to get his shots off. One late there at the bell. Mitch Halpin separates them. As we go back to Carlos Barreto's corner. Average rounds per fight, 5. We've had 4, and he's doing well. The truth is, Jim, we just didn't know how good he was, Carlos Barreto.
I don't know if it's good or awkward. I don't know whether to be kind or unkind to him, but I don't particularly like what he's doing. He's just backing off and poking the jab into Garza's face. It's working for him. He certainly, at this rate, he's not going to end up like one of my favourite fighters. But he's landing the odd punch and Garza's missing, so on my card he's getting himself in front. Garza is the one who has to improve his work and come up with something better.
Round 5 of this WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. Nestor Garza, the champion in the Tiger print. Carlos Barreto, the challenger, in the blue with the white waistband. And Garza, who looked devastating early in his career, he knocked 11 of his first 12 opponents out inside 2 rounds and had that war with Enrique Sanchez. He's having trouble here. On Jim's scorecard, Barreto is 2 rounds up, 39-37, the unofficial scorecard, of course, Jim's. To gain the cleaner work here coming from Barreto.
Well, but disappointed in Garza. He doesn't seem to have a great idea what to do here. He's looking confused. He's been lunging in with a single left hook. There he goes again, followed by the right. But no real imagination. He should be showing this fellow a feint, force him into making the first move, force him into making some mistakes. That was a good punch. See, when he gets Barreto to lead off, there's a chance he can get home with some counters. That's what he has to do. Feint at this guy, get him to lead first.
It's just been a little too one-dimensional from Nestor Garza so far. But there's plenty of time in this fight. Barreto again with the sharper shots. Garza trying to tie him up in the corner and work close. Maybe he needs to work Barreto's body.
I think he has to get himself into, force his way into punching range and stay there, let some punches go. He's trying to do it with single punches, it's not working.
Carlos Barreto's best win was when he won the interim version of this WBA title against Hector Acero Sanchez. Right hand piling in. Garza trapped on the ropes for a few moments. Warned for the head coming in low from Garza. Just can't fathom him out, can he, Jim?
No, just the same old problems once again for Garza. Can't get past the jab, doesn't have the imagination, doesn't have the technique that's required. So I don't particularly like what Barreto's doing half the time, but he's winning the rounds as far as I'm concerned.
Nestor Garza in the corner there. With him, Jeff Maldonado and Ricardo Maldonado, senior and junior. They say that Garza is the best super bantamweight in the world. I think on what we've seen so far, he probably isn't. Garza complaining there.
Yeah, because the punch landed behind the ear, but he was the one that turned his head. He can't really complain, he turned away from the punch.
Six rounds of this WBA Super Bantamweight title. Almost the halfway stage for Nestor Garza, his first defense against Carlos Barreto, and Garza is having problems working out this cagey Venezuelan style. Got a bit of a mark round the eye as well, Garza, to add to his problems. When he won the title from Enrique Sanchez, Garza made a real mess of Sanchez's face in that. Sanchez, both eyes closed. Trading here. Again, much like the opening couple of rounds.
So this is what he has to do. He has to raise the intensity of his work. Has to get punches flowing. Single punches are not working against this awkward fellow, so you have to put shots together. Be prepared to miss a few, but you'll go home with some of the punches. Single punches are not the answer here.
Just standing off from each other for a minute.
Garza wants to get close, but he doesn't know how to get there. Good right hand from Garza. He's worked a little bit better in this round. He's been patient here, and when he goes to work, he's throwing several punches. That's what's wanted. He's got to be prepared to miss with some shots.
Yes, Barreto tying him up when he gets in close. These punches are landing. Right hand from Barreto, and just forced Garza back momentarily. Oh, Garza warned there for keeping the punches up. Keep it clean. Gets in with a left hook. And Barreto's face just sagging a little bit. And becoming a bit tired, maybe, Barreto.
Yeah, Garza has to sustain the action here, though. Barreto tying him up inside, that is a sign of tiredness. Garza's work been a little bit better in this round. The first minute and the last minute probably went to Garza, with Barreto pulling a little bit back in the middle. So signs of fortune now for Garza.
Yes, he's become a lot closer, Garza. And let's find out what Barry McGuigan thinks, because I know he rated Garza.
No te puede quedar la cuerda. Resuello. Vamos a trabajar resuello. Respira. ¿Quieres ser campeón nuevo? Cierrame el ojo. No es nada, pero como quieras. Sí, no es nada. Tienes que pegarle, lo lastimas y los dejas ir. Te vas para atrás. Nomás poquito. Y luego la piensas y le entras y te sales.
Thanks very much, Barry, for your thoughts. Welcome back to Las Vegas, where we've had half of this WBA Super Bantamweight Championship. Round 7, Nestor Garza has some work to do in the Tiger print. 22-year-old against another 22-year-old, Venezuelan Carlos Barreto in the white and blue. Barreto has landed with cleaner shots early on. Garza's had trouble working out his style, but he's closing the distance down, and Barreto looked a little tireder in that last round.
Well, maybe Garza beginning to get the idea now, just to raise the pace and keep it raised. You can't allow Barreto to control the pace of the long, prodding, leading jab, and just keeping out of range all the way. Garza has to get close and keep the action, keep the pace of the action up.
He's trying to do that to work inside. Mitch Halpin tells Barreto to let him go. And this holding suggests to me that Carlos Barreto is starting to feel the pace. Good shots from Nestor Garza. Left to the body and to the head, and Barreto backs into the corner.
See, when he raises the pace and keeps it there, Barreto starts making some mistakes. Are signs of tiredness, as you say. And he's not trading now, he's trying to grab hold of Garza inside. So Garza has to keep this pace.
Good right hand from Garza. And a left. Barreto's legs just did a bit of a dance, and he holds on again. These are bad moments for Carlos Barreto. He looks really tired.
For the first time, Garza is doing the right thing, just keeping the punches flowing, not giving Barreto time to draw breath. Just stay on him, pressurise him. He's been stalking him without pressurising him. This is the first time he's really put him under pressure.
Just came a little too late in the round, but Barreto looks to his corner, and there's signs of distress. There's a shake of the head from the Venezuelan, and he slumps on his stool. Good round for Nestor Garza.
Así tenemos que pelear todos los rounds que quedan. Ya nos quedan 4, Néstor. Y aún seguimos perdiendo. Ya vamos. No te entregue, Diego. Tírale golpe duro, pues. ¿Estamos cansados o qué?
Carlos Barreto puffs out his cheeks. And this is the territory now for Nestor Garza to up the tempo.
Well, the first signs, the real signs of alarm from Barreto came in that round, because Garza sustained the pressure. He didn't back off and start posing again. He got the punches rolling and kept them rolling, and that's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to get this fellow under control. He's awkward, he's difficult, get him under control.
This is the 8th round, and there's been a bit of a turn in events. Nestor Garza, the WBA champion in the Tiger print, couldn't work out Carlos Barreto in the blue to start with. He's closed Barreto down. Barreto just slings him away. But Garza had a very, very good last round, and he'll be thinking about piling on the pressure. There's a long way in this fight to go. Solid jab from Garza, left and a right. Barreto's almost ready to go, I think. He holds on. Mitch Halpin splits them up. He's looking very unsteady. These shots are landing from Garza. Lefts again, right hand, he comes back, Barreto, he needed to.
Well, Garza looking now as though he wants to hang on to this title, really putting everything he's got into it. He has to keep doing this. This is what's been required all the way through. Barreto beginning to look exhausted.
Looks like the meteor shots are all coming from Garza. Barreto had that little spurt, and I think he may well have been stopped if he hadn't thrown any back. Garza has a lot of time left in this round to finish the job.
Barreto's punches are not troubling Garza. Garza's feeling the pace as well.
Left hand from Garza.
But the punches are not troubling him. Barreto in serious trouble.
Very, very bad moments. It's surely going to be stopped. Mr. Garza wades in. Mitch Halpern having a very, very close look at Barreto, but there's not a lot coming back now. And Barreto's been caught time and time again. Again, a left hand, a right. He's slumped in the corner. Nestor Garza just wading away. Mitch Halpern holds on, and finally he stops the contest. Probably too late, but Nestor Garza has retained his WBA Super Bantamweight title once he closed the distance on Carlos Barreto. His powerful punches just forced the stoppage, which I think was a little bit too late.
Well, yeah, possibly. It is a world title fight, remember, and he wasn't sagging, he was taking clean shots, but the referee was right on hand. He was watching every punch as it landed, no doubt looking straight into Barreto's eyes. I mean, if you look at him now, he's all right. He's obviously disappointed, obviously heartbroken, I would say, but the referee maybe a little bit late, Adam, but not ridiculously so. But at least Garza proved that he really wanted the title, raised the pace, kept it raised, and that's what turned it around in his favour.
Yes, Barreto was looking tired for the last couple of rounds, and once Garza had got inside that jab, the punches came home, and they were too much for the Venezuelan.
See, physically, Barreto didn't have much left here. He was beginning to sag physically. I mean, his head wasn't rolling around in his shoulders with the punches that were landing, and that's the alarm signs for any referee. It was as much exhaustion as anything else. He just couldn't get himself out of the corner here. Not devastating punches, but the punches kept flowing here, and just sheer exhaustion as much as actually being knocked out. And the referee right on top of it, and they probably picked the right spot. If you look at Barreto's eyes, they were still fairly clear at the end.
A lot of clean shots landed at the end by Nestor Garza. He retains his title, and he waits for Eric Morales, his Mexican compatriot, to defend his in just a few moments' time. Maybe they'll match up in the future, but after overcoming early problems, Garza showed he wanted it.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mitch Halpern steps in and calls a halt to the bout at exactly 2 minutes of round number 8. The winner by knockout victory, and still the reigning WBA Super Bantamweight champion of the world, Nestor Tigre Garza.
Thank you very much, Al. Obviously, this is the first defense of your title. ¿Cómo te sientes? Primera defensa de tu campeonato.
Creo que estoy muy contento ya que esta victoria la gané con mucho esfuerzo. Creo que me preparé lo suficientemente bien para esa pelea, en el cual esta pelea se la debo a mi esquina, en cual siempre me ha sabido sobrellevar.
He says that everything went right for him in this bout. Obviously.
Well, you can't say that Super Sport don't bring us action, Terry. Huh?
Well, that was a fantastic fight. And you know, Ron, although we got the winner right, I want to tell you that other kid, Barreto, I was very, very impressed with that boy.
Well, you know, the fight swayed. I mean, I think it was the end of the 6th round. I had them even. You first got it one way. Barreto got into the fight. He was jabbing, moving out, boxing intelligently. But he just seems to have the strength. I suppose at 5'10", he must possibly battle to make the weight limit. I don't know.
You could be right, Ron. I think the fight itself was a bit premature for the youngster, firstly. Yes. They're both youngsters.
You say youngster, the other one's 22.
I said they're both youngsters. But Ron, the one has had 34 fights.
Yes.
So at 22, he's graduated. You know,
Yes,
he's more of
yes,
a senior
yes.
fighter. The other guys had 13 fights. I would say in terms of boxing experience, Garza certainly, at this point in time, way above the other fellow, you know, Barreto. But Barreto can become a great fighter.
He will come again, there's no doubt. Possibly, as you quite correctly say, the fight came a little bit too soon, in his career. But what a performance by Garza. I mean, the pressure, he took the shots, and he didn't give up. He couldn't get him, and he couldn't work him out, because that reach, he was battling to get inside, and he eventually fathomed it out, and he got in closer. I think he was just taking a little step closer, and then getting his shots off, throwing combinations. And that's what won the fight for me in the end. The pressure was too much for Barreto.
Yeah, what impressed me about Nestor Garza, I must tell you, when I spoke to Mike Dean in California early in the week, he was raving about this guy. He's a good fighter. Excuse me, I don't think he's quite as good as Mike Dean made him out to be.
No.
I don't think he's very polished, but Ron, his intensity, his level of intensity is great, and he's a good puncher.
But getting back to that fight, it was a very good fight, because as I said, it started off so well.
Fight.
It looked as though that Barreto was in it with a chance. I thought at one time he was going to stick on the outside and move, and he could win on points.
It looked like it, Ron.